just outsmarted the rest of the NFL. What do I mean by that? I'm going to break that down for you guys here in this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so what do I mean by the Packers just outsmarted the rest of the NFL? Because that's a pretty bold and big statement to make. Brian Gutekunst's course is historically known for not going and spending a lot of money, especially when it comes to free agency. He loves to build through the draft, but he proves us Packer fans and the rest of the NFL wrong when he went and signed a couple of bigger name free agents like Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney looking to be the biggest steal of all of free agency, and the Packers look like they absolutely hit the lottery in signing Xavier McKinney. He happens to be the beneficiary of a lot of takeaways, and the Packers, as it stands right now, are leading the league in takeaways with 14. That is just under 3 per contest. That's through 5 games. The Packers have 14 takeaways. If you notice on that list, the Vikings are number 2. The Bears are number 3. The NFC North looking like a gauntlet to get through defensively, at least. But the Packers, Xavier McKinney, absolutely looking like the biggest home run of all free agency signings out there. And some of you might be saying, okay, well, you know what? The Packers went and signed him to a big contract. So he's just putting out the productivity of what the Packers thought. And to some degree, that is correct. So let's take a look as it stands right now. Safety contracts out there. Antoine Winfield, right now, the highest paid safety out there. Let's take a look at his productivity and what he is doing for a very good Tampa Bay Buccaneer team and good Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. Right now, he has 4 solo tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles right now for the year. Number 2 on that list is Darwin James for the Chargers. This dude is super good. 12 solo tackles, 1 sack, no forced fumbles or picks on the year. Fitzpatrick for the Steelers, he is 3rd. So where is he at on the list? This dude is super productive at the Steelers. Wow, what a team, and they're getting it done defensively. That's how they're coming up with some wins. He is a reason for that. 22 solo tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles, no picks. Okay, so you got Xavier McKinney 4th on the list, and he is fully guaranteed money. The Packers have $23 million wrapped up into him, fully guaranteed. They signed him to a 4-year, $67 million contract. Jesse Bates right underneath that, and we're going to get into that in a second. But PFF came out with an article before the season began, rating what they feel was going to be the best safeties this season heading into 2024. We already looked at Antoine Winfield's. They have him as the top rated safety heading into 2024. Kyle Hamilton for the Baltimore Ravens. Well, let's take a look at his numbers right now. 18 solo tackles, 1 sack, no forced fumbles, no interceptions. So that's number 2 on the list. Number 3 on the list is Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties, in my opinion, in the league. And he's shown the productivity out there right there. 21 solo tackles, no sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. A very successful year so far statistically for Jesse Bates. Number 4 on the list is Fitzpatrick with the Steelers. We just looked at his stats. This dude is super productive too. You can make the argument a very one of the, in my opinion, probably the 3rd best safety overall in the league. You got Marcus Williams for the Ravens. Let's take a look at what his stats are right now. 10 solo tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles, no interceptions. And then you've got Holland with the Dolphins. Similar numbers to Marcus Williams. We're not going to dive into all of these because we just don't have the time for it. But Darwin James, we already talked about him with the Chargers. He's having a relatively productive year, and they have Xavier McKinney right there on the list. So let's take a look a little bit further on Xavier McKinney. Where is he at right now? Xavier McKinney, 11 solo tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles. He does have a fumble recovery, so he does have a takeaway. So he's got 6 takeaways so far this year. Right now, as it stands, he is the first player since the 1970 merger to have an interception in 5 consecutive contests out there. So that's huge. Packers make some history with Xavier McKinney. He has 6 takeaways, which are equal or greater than 21 teams' total production of takeaways this season. So Xavier McKinney getting it done better than 21 teams out there are doing. This dude, again, looking like an absolute steal. If you're the Green Bay Packers, you've got to be super pumped, super excited. Well, the Packers get a win, and it was too close for comfort, in my opinion. A 24-19 win over the Rams. The Packers looked like they were going to start walking away with this, and then it just became way too close. And the Packers needing to rely on Jeff Halfley and the defense to get it done and close this one out. They do end up closing this one out, but it was again too close. Let's take a look at the team stats. Total yards 370 to 323. Um, the Rams had the upper hand there. Rushing yards 134 to 126. Again, the Packers defense giving up a whole lot of yards rushing, but they've gone through a gauntlet of running backs themselves. Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Kyren Williams. It hasn't been an easy road for Jeff Halfley to plan and come up with defensive schemes to stop these just absolute studs. But a couple of stats that really stood out to me is that through the first half, the Green Bay Packers allowed the Rams to have the first lead going into the half for this year. Again, this is a very depleted, a very run down and injured Rams team that were down three starting offensive linemen. I was anticipating Jeff Halfley and the defense to be coming through, coming up with a whole lot of sacks. They only come up with 3 sacks in this contest, which isn't enough, in my opinion, with as depleted as this team was. In the Packers, we're 0-5 on third down conversions. They cleaned that up a little bit, getting 1 third down efficiency, 1 of 8 in the second half. The Packers, of course, becoming more productive in the second half. But let's take a look at player stats. Jordan Love, of course, we all saw that interception, pick six, his first pick six of his career. It was an ugly one because it was going to be a safety, and I'm sure hindsight, this dude wishes he would have just taken the safety, but he doesn't. 15 of 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that interception, which resulted into a pick six. So that was a big turnover, a costly turnover for Jordan Love and the Packers. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown, only averaging 3.8 yards per carry there. And I read an article today talking about Josh Jacobs looking like the same Josh Jacobs of the Raiders. Give me a break. Josh Jacobs is so incredibly good and talented. However, the offensive line is just not getting it done. Um, they're just allowing pressure into the backfield. As soon as either Emmanuel Wilson or Josh Jacobs are touching the ball, they're getting hit. Emmanuel Wilson had a little bit more productivity than Josh Jacobs, 6 carries, 24 yards. So he was averaging 4 yards a carry. Jaden Reed, 2 carries, 19 yards, of course, getting involved in the run game there. Tucker Kraft looking like that tight end that is an absolute stud this year, especially when you start looking at the overall tight ends in the NFL. Tucker Kraft being one of the more productive tight ends out there, not just getting it done blocking, but he can also get it done through the air. 4 receptions for 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed, of course, is an absolute stud. 4 receptions, 78 yards. One of the concerning things is Dontavian Wicks in his continued dropped passes out there. I'm really hoping this dude can clean that up. Of course, as I said in a couple of videos ago, Devontae Adams, his sophomore year, he had a lot of drop passes out there. Not as many as Wicks as it stands. I'm hoping Wicks can get all of that stuff cleaned up because this dude, you can see the talent there. He creates separation. So I really like Dontavian Wicks. Of course, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur love him with the involvement they keep, having him in on the offense. So defensively, Quay Walker, another disappointing game for the Packers, but Evan Williams, Javon Bullard, Xavier McKinney was interviewed after the game, and he was just saying that these 2 guys are some special players. They can do everything. You get involved in the nickel, the dime, which just makes it easier for Jeff Halfley and Xavier McKinney to just float around, knowing that he can rely on Bullard and Williams to be able to just kind of be multifaceted defensive players for Jeff Halfley, for this defense. I really, really like these two safety rookies. I think these guys are going to have a very productive NFL careers, especially hopefully with the Packers. Edrin Cooper, I really love this dude. I love highlighting another rookie. He gets a sack in this contest, but this dude flies all over the field. Not like Quay Walker. Quay Walker, of course, led the team in tackles with 6, but again, he's missing so many assignments. If you look at the game closely, he's just not getting it done. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think about this Packer win. I don't think it's anything to be so concerned about. I think the Packers are going to start getting their stuff together. They're going to start putting together. Hopefully, they can put together 4 full quarters coming up here soon. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack, go.